This program is brought to you by the Genesis Communications Network, a world leader in talk radio since 1998. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is HomeTalkUSA with Michael King, where we will discuss topics pertaining to your home with industry-leading experts. Michael King is a licensed general contractor with more than 30 years of experience in home improvements and the author of Contracting with the King. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton. Discover what's next in the home improvement industry and explore new products and innovations. Or if you have that next great big idea, learn what it takes to bring your invention to the world as Michael King and Rita Crompton talk to America's inventors and innovators. Remember, the America of tomorrow is being invented today. We invite you to visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, we proudly present Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor, Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Yay! Welcome, America. That's right. I'm the Cajun contractor, Michael King, along with the Inventor Lady herself, Miss Rita Crompton. I want to welcome all of you on the Genesis Communication Radio Network at GCNlive.com. And I'd like to welcome my co-host, and I definitely want to thank her for filling in on Home Talk on our first hour last week. Did a great job as I was playing hooky. And down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, watching my grandson participate in the camp, and I just want to thank you. So, Rita, how you did? You got through it, huh?
Yeah, it was fun to be able to help you out. You had great guests. I want both of those products. And when we got done, I even told my husband, it's like, okay, we have got to go and get that that energy bank basically, so that you can save up your energy if you need it. But it was wonderful to meet your guests and to be able to visit with them. So thank you for the opportunity.
Well, I wanted to mention something. I know you have a great show lined up for us today, but the last hour we had a great customer, a great guest, and he invented what they call the mosquito sniper, and it's been on the about 2 or 3 years, but it was another case, and it reminded me about the Invent America show where he had an idea and trying to get it to market, and he didn't have any experience, didn't have a patent attorney, didn't know molding companies, and I was telling him, I said, well, the Invent America show, that's what we do here. We just walk you through that blueprint, and that's what the show's all about, right?
It is, and that's why it fits so well in the Home Talk USA programming, because you had me on before we ever started the Invent America segment, and that's what we talked about, is America Invents. So we were talking about the steps in the process and some of the wonderful products that people have invented and gotten out there into the marketplace. So it's a great fit, and there's a lot of people out there that need to know those steps.
Well, let's face it, mistakes cost money, and that's the point. And if you make a number of them, it can really bankrupt you. And that's, if you have a great idea and a great technology, we want you to get it to market, and that's the purpose of the show. But tell us about international filings, though. That's what you want to talk about today, right?
It is. There are so many inventors that will call me up and say, well, I want to file internationally now. And it's like, well, you can't now. You've missed the deadline. And so often they think that, all right, well, they'll get it lined up and going through the U.S., but there is a hard international deadline, and it's not something that you can buy back. It is 1 year from your first filing. And so a lot of people think, well, I'll do the provisional, and then they want to do anything international after they have filed the non-provisional, and by then they've missed their date.
That's right.
And, with our economy getting, the global economy getting smaller, and people will want to, be able to sell their product, we don't look at doing international filings in every country. That's crazy. On another show, we'll talk about what you've got to be careful of that, keep somebody from infringing on you in another country, because that's a different conversation. But you want to be able to look at where you're going to be manufacturing it. So if the U.S. is your major market, then where are you going to manufacture? And our patent attorney, our registered patent attorney today, is going to talk about some of those parameters that we look at and time frames. And so the two guests that we've got on, Lexa Gandolfo and Jim Gurule, have both filed in other countries. And Lexa has done the basic, the PCT. We're going to talk about what that means. And it gives her time now to choose where her licensee, and she's just recently licensed, so where does her licensee want her to file? And for a lot of our inventors, when they know they want to go after licensing, we want to protect then the rights of the company coming in to do the manufacturing on where they need the coverage. And that's why that international coverage is, it's one thing to say, no, I don't want to. It's another thing to say, nobody told me, and now I've missed it.
Yeah, you're right. And but now the cargo caddy, I'm excited. I went online this week and was learning a little bit about it. That's gonna really shake up some things, in my opinion. Rita?
Oh yeah, for every parent that's got to put a kid in an SUV, they're going to want a cargo caddy, because they're putting in all kinds of sports equipment and picnic stuff and going to the beach and everything. Little things that get lost, their purses, their groceries, and the cargo caddy is a wonderful product.
Wow.
To get more, and she's licensed it now, so she's gone after what she wanted from the very beginning. Lexa was very focused. I want to license this. Wow.
Well, Rita, I tell you, you got some great guests, and I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit about Don Satina. I love when registered patent attorneys come on, because they provide us so much great information to help our listeners to choose that right patent attorney. Because that could be the difference between, be honest with you, success or failure.
Oh, it is. It really is. And, I always tell inventors and people I talk to is like, the attorney is not your partner. No. All right. Because I've heard attorneys say, oh, I become like your partner. No, you're still going to send an invoice.
That's right.
You're not a partner. Partners put in money along with their time. But it's like, and I help inventors understand, the attorney is a very important part of this strategy. Yeah. And they're a service provider. So you have a right to ask questions.
Yes,
and you should ask questions.
Yeah, and you got to, and each product and technology is different,
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
The point. Yeah.
So next week, you're going to love this. Next week, we're talking about big science.
What now?
I've got two delightful inventors on. One is in the electronics world of databases.
All right.
And the other one is in the medical field, and they both each have such a unique story to share with our inventors. And, I'm the licensing agent. One, we're already negotiating a deal. But I'm so proud of both of these inventors for, the big science that they're in.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. So I've got to brag a little bit about, all these wonderful inventors that are out there that reach out and say, I'd like to be on the show.
Well, that's good. And at the bottom of the hour, the top of the hour, before we close, you're going to talk about how you can get on the show and what the process is, right?
It's so easy. Yes, we're going to definitely talk about that.
All right. Well, I'm the Cajun contractor, Michael King, along with the Inventor Lady herself, Rita Crompton. We're going to step away. Got to pay some bills right here on the Home Improvement Broadcasting Network. Don't forget, we are streaming live on the World Wide Web at the Genesis Communication Radio Network at GCNlive.com. That's our archive. That's our podcast. 24/7, 365. And as always, support your local independent hardware stores and garden centers. And let's pledge to hire a vet today. I'm the Cajun Man, and I'll be right back with my co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton. We'll be right back. Yay!
USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Yay! Welcome to the only show dedicated to you, the American consumer. Don't forget, we are streaming live on the World Wide Web at the Genesis Communication Radio Network at GCNlive.com. All right, Rita, who's our first guest on the Invent America show?
Our guest today is Lexa Gandolfo. She is the inventor of the Cargo Caddy, and Lexa's got a passion for inventing and helping other inventors. And a lot of it is, she's learned so many lessons. And Lexa, thank you for being with us today. But Cargo Caddy, you licensed it in May of this year. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much, Rita, and thank you for having me.
So we are so glad that you have joined us today. The Cargo Caddy nearly doubles that we would call it the trunk space if it was a regular car, but that back space that is in an SUV. Tell our listeners about the Cargo Caddy.
Yeah, sure. Again, thanks for giving me some time today on the show. I'm happy to be here. Cargo Caddy is a trunk organizer for SUVs and CUVs. In those types of trunks, items are often piled on top of each other. They're disorganized. They're messy. That's because those trunks are like big boxes. So there's no differentiation in space. So Cargo Caddy solves this problem by providing shelf space above the trunk floor for all the stuff you store in your SUV, CUV trunk. So it gives you 2 levels of storage space in your trunk. So it's perfect for groceries, sports equipment, camping and hiking gear, tailgating items, all kinds of things. So that's the problem that Cargo Caddy solves, and I'm excited to be moving forward with it with this licensee.
And again, that's a big deal. You were very focused from the beginning that you had wanted to license it. You went after it. You got it done. You had different phases of prototyping. So there's lots of things that you can help our inventors understand as the process you have gone through. But this one that we're talking about today is the value of filing internationally. Now, you filed a PCT, the Patent Cooperation Treaty. What was your strategy in doing this?
So really, I've worked with this licensee to do the patent prosecution and the continued application and changes, because there's been some changes on their end as far as what they want to do to bring it to market. So they're working with me on this, and they are an international company, but they weren't sure where they were going to initially roll Cargo Caddy out to. So what we decided was, if we put this kind of placeholder in place, and that's what that PCT does, it allows you some extra time, 5 years, I believe it is, to decide where you want to individually file the patent moving forward. Will it just be North and South America? Will it be Europe? We need to do a lot more market research on that. Right now, we're just going to go with the U.S. and Canada. But we wanted to make sure that we didn't lose out on that window. When you convert your provisional to your utility, you have to file internationally at the same time. And so this gives us some extra time to figure out where to do it.
Right. And the timing for our listeners, that you've got 1 year from your first filing. So if you file a provisional, at the time when you do that non-provisional, you've got to calculate in there that you're running, kind of on fumes at getting a PCT done. A PCT, just, so our listeners know, is kind of like the international version of a provisional. It gives you 30 months to decide what other country you want to file in. And so rather than, some of them say, well, I'm just going to file, in China because that's where we're going to manufacture. And then they license it and find out the licensee is going to actually manufacture in Mexico. Well, now they've lost their international rights. And so the PCT, like you said, gives them that breathing room.
Exactly. And what we didn't want to do is just file in 5 or 6 different international countries because we weren't exactly sure where we were going to roll it out, as you pointed out. And also, it's extremely expensive. It's because you have to pay for each individual filing. You can do ones that kind of cover you for all of Europe, but again, it's really specific to the country as far as I understand. And, again, I'm getting help from them in this process, so I haven't done all of the research on my own, so I don't know all the ins and outs, but I understand that it's an extremely expensive proposition to go and just file everywhere and just blanket get coverage everywhere. So instead, you give yourself a breathing room.
Yeah, so what we look at is generally the major market. So if it's going to be, U.S. and Canada, you focus on that. And then the other one that we look at is where it's going to be manufactured. Because now if somebody else is manufacturing in that country, the company that's doing the manufacturing will go in and close them down. So that's kind of where, when I'm working with an inventor, where we're looking at. That, there are other things that will curtail someone from copying you in another country, and we're going to do that on another show. But when you're really looking at the time, what specifically are you looking at, you and your licensee, that would make you say, okay, we want to file in this country? Have you guys decided that yet?
I think we'll decide that moving forward when we go to market. We're still getting the molds made and figuring out packaging and pricing and all of that. So we won't really have a better understanding of that until we go to market in the U.S. first and kind of see where things settle in and where we're doing best. Obviously, it'll vary from country to country, but this is kind of like our test run, the U.S. Yeah. And obviously, you could just launch in the U.S. and do really well, but since they're an international company, they want to branch out if the product is successful here at home.
Sure, absolutely. So do you have a target date for the launch of the product?
My understanding is that it'll be before the end of the year, but they're a really company with a lot of products, so it could get bumped, it could move up, it could move back. I've learned to just try to be as fluid as possible with timelines and expectation.
All right. Well, that sounds good. And I mean, it's a wonderful product. So I'm looking out there. It's like, all right, when do I buy each of my daughters, because they both have SUVs, a cargo caddy as a gift? And so that's a big, and it's not unusual that I'm thinking, okay, how many people in the family need one of these? And definitely the daughters, because they both have the SUVs, and certainly need to be able to give them all that room to pack those boys around.
Absolutely, and I think we're sticking with the Cargo Caddy name. I'm working on filing the trademark for that now. So that's what to look for, Cargo Caddy. It's a great name. It really, really is. And Lexa, thank you so much for being with us. Listeners, if you are out there and you have some questions, join us at the Inventor Roundtable meetings. We have them every month. Check us out by going ahead and filling out the form to be on Invent America.
Welcome back to Home Talk USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being with us for this next segment, and we want to make sure we thank our Genesis Communication Network for having us. And if you would like to be on the radio, please go to the website, inventamerica.info, and the form will come up and say, do you want to be on the show? Fill out the information. It will drop right into my email box. If you need a service provider, again, shoot me an email, text message, and tell me what you need, ask me for the referral, and I am more than happy to refer you to one of our sponsors and one of our service providers. Our next guest is Jim Gurule, and Jim has a family of patents related to cabinet installation. He has been selling millions of these through Home Depot, Lowe's, and Amazon. So, Jim, thank you so much for being with us today, and tell us a little bit about your product.
Hello, Rita. Well, thank you for having me. Yeah, I'd be happy to share my experiences. As you know, I invented a three-way clamping device for cabinets. This was many years ago, and that is still being sold today under the two brands, Bessie Cabinet Frame and the Pony Cabinet Claw. And that was an idea that I had many years ago as a former cabinet maker installing cabinets, and I was frustrated about all these things I had to do at the same time. Patented that, and now I'm off to my second generation of patents that I'm real excited to share with you and bring to the market.
So, well, we are looking forward to that and watching as you go through the steps on that. But, you know, you've told me you have multiple patents, multiple U.S. patents, but you also filed one in Canada. What was your strategy? I mean, filing, we've heard many times and from different inventors, and, you know, when I hear an inventor, it's like, well, I filed in 70 countries. It's like, okay, well, really wondering about that kind of decision-making process, but you never know. We look at, you know, filing in one or two other countries as being, you know, a strategy. You filed in Canada. What was your strategy about Canada?
Yeah, now that particular patent actually is my second one. So the first one was designed for a specific type of cabinet. At that time, it's referred to as frame cabinets. And in the U.S., the market was primarily made out of this face frame construction of cabinets. But the second patent, which was still for installing cabinets, it was a little more general, universal. But that style of cabinet being made was more popular in other countries, particularly in Canada. So at the time, my licensing partner asked me about, hey, what do you think about filing international patents? And my understanding, or say my expertise within that industry to that market, say, yeah, absolutely, let's file for the Canadian patents because that's 80% of the type of cabinets that they make in that country. So it was a decision based on my knowledge of the market, but also that time the licensing partner had a large distribution channel in that country, and they wanted to secure the IP in that country. And, so it worked out fine in that area. The other factors, of course, is related to time and money, because it does cost more money, and also the marketplace. And this is where I value your insight, Rita, so I'll let you maybe share more about how important that is to get advice for others than just the attorney.
Well, absolutely. The global economy is something that, you know, we do talk about on a pretty regular basis. And, you know, when you look at the reason you file, a lot of times it is based on, you know, where your product's going to be sold. I had some guys years ago that had the attorney file the PCT, and you know their thought was, well, let's file in the EU. They did not realize at that point they had made a wise business decision. Their main market was going to be Spain. And they ended up moving their lives, their families, their business, and everything to Spain because that was their major market. They didn't know when they filed the PCT. They found out during that 30-month time frame. It's like, whoa, we weren't expecting this, and you know they were off to the races. But you know when you file the PCT and now you've got 30 months to get out the door, it really gives you some time to make the better business decisions.
Yeah, well, two takeaways, and again, this is why I value what you do, Rita, because you're not an attorney, nor do you claim to be an attorney, but again, you can provide insights and just past experiences that, in fairness to many inventors, first-time inventors, they just don't know. You know, there's a lot of decisions, and not that the patent attorney doesn't have good intentions, but he's going to do, you know, what he thinks is best to protect the idea. But he doesn't understand the market. He doesn't understand the business case, as well as somebody like yourself that has experience of working with many inventors. So
It's certainly different perspective. I know one of the things that Michael and I were talking about earlier is that, the patent attorney is not your partner. They're a service provider. And so you, as the business owner, have got to look at a lot of different variables and make business decisions based on going out there. So that's kind of what we look at. And that 30-month time frame can make all the difference in the world. I mean, I had a gentleman, and that's one of the reasons we're talking about this, just a week ago that called, sent me an email and said, okay, I'm ready to file now. I want to file in Canada and Australia. And I go, but you missed the deadline 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because in these patents I filed in recent years, just 24 months ago, part of the strategy was to drag it out. I say drag it out, extend the provisional patent, extend the cost, but also the timing of when I was going to actually file the patents with the U.S. Patent Office. So this attorney I was working with, I think, was clever in saying, hey, we can file these, and then as to buy some time, and that worked out pretty well for the budget and for the marketplace at that time.
Right, absolutely. So if you are out there listening, all right, I want to encourage you, if you've got any questions at all about filing internationally, send me an email, Rita@inventorlady.com. I am more than happy to answer your questions and point you in the right direction. So thank you, Jim, so much for being with us today. We want to thank our sponsors, Kicker Design and CAD Design. So thank you very much to our sponsors and to our guest, Jim Gurule. If you would like to see Jim's products, shoot me an email. I am more than happy to send you his link. Bye, everybody. Talk to you in a few minutes. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Have a great day.
HomeTalkUSA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being with us today on our segment of Invent America. If you would like to see any of our recorded segments, please go to inventamerica.info or HomeTalkUSA.com. You can also find all of the links on inventorlady.com. So we are finishing up our conversation about filing internationally, and Don Satina is a registered patent attorney. He's done some work for several of our other inventors who've been on. And he's here to explain some of the complexity of filing internationally. And so many inventors don't file anything because they're either scared away because they're told about the outrageous cost, and it doesn't have to be that way, or they miss the deadlines, which are hard deadlines internationally. So, Don, thank you for being with us today. And explain how that most of our inventors that we work with are either micro entities or small entities. Break down the cost structure for them so they're not terrified.
Okay, well, there are two ways that you can file international applications. And as you said, these timelines come up on you very quickly. It's 12 months from the filing date of your first application, whether that was a provisional or a U.S. application. Now, if you file directly in different countries, you're not going to get the benefit of your small entity or micro entity, except in a few countries like Canada. Now, if you file the PCT system, you're able to do that by filing directly with the U.S. Patent Office, and your PCT fees will generally be discounted in the same way they would be for a U.S. application.
Excellent. And isn't it, if you're within a certain number of pages, you hit that one fee, but as your page number goes up in your filing, then your fee goes up?
Yes, but I think it's a pretty large number of pages before the fee goes up.
I heard it was like 25 or 30 or something like that, and most patents file within that range.
Yes. And you also have to watch out for the number of claims as well. You can have a higher fee, over 15, I believe.
Okay, good to know. Good for our inventors to call and ask you if they have any questions about the PCT. So we will make sure that your information is available on the website. But I think that, explain to us, some of this understanding, because I'll get inventors that say, well, I'm not planning on selling internationally, so I don't need to understand what's been done internationally. And I always tell them if it's been done anywhere in the world at any time in history, you will not be granted a U.S. patent.
That's right. At one time, there were countries that only looked at what was done in their country, and it didn't matter what was done somewhere else. But today, nearly every patent office considers publications made anywhere in the world as prior art. So whenever you do get a search, it's always a good idea to get a worldwide search like what you get from SearchQuest. And so, just filing, but then when you look at, you're going to another country to file, now that international search becomes important again. Yes. So if you go to the European Patent Office, that's one of the main bodies of prior art that you're going to see whenever you do a search.
I had a gentleman come to me years ago. He wanted a hinged glove that would sit on top of your hand, and then you would have a rubber glove underneath, and it was to protect you when you were cutting it. And I kept saying, what part of nice and shining armor are you missing? And he goes, well, nobody ever filed a patent on it. And that's like, well, in the 1400s, they didn't file a lot. And so it's like, but it's still out there, there are things that are still out there in the world. And just because a patent was never filed doesn't mean it's not part of the public domain.
That's correct.
So explain to our inventors, what does public domain mean?
Public domain generally means that something is publicly available. So it's either published or put on sale publicly where you could obtain it and determine what the invention was from looking at it.
All right. Well, we've got music coming up. It means we need to take a break and pay some bills. Don, thank you again for being with us today. And we will have you back again to answer some additional questions for us about intellectual property. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Rita.
And stick with us, everybody, as we wrap up the show. And if you would like to be on, please go to inventamerica.info and fill out the form.
USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. one of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us today. We were talking about intellectual property on an international scale, and it's a little complicated, but we can certainly answer questions for you. So stay with us when we go to the Inventor Roundtable meetings. You can reach me online, Rita at inventorlady.com. Ask the questions. The answers are free. The Inventor Roundtable meetings are free. We want to make sure we thank our sponsors, Kicker Design. They help our inventors with their final prototype stage and manufacturing in the U.S. and internationally. And CAD Design with Scott Tarsi. He helps inventors on that early stage of getting those prototypes done and a lot of the rapid prototype technology. So we are going to have both of them on in the next couple of weeks talking about what they do for inventors. We want to thank Lexa Gandolfo and congratulate her again for her licensing deal on Cargo Caddy. And we're all going to work on Jim Gurule and get him to the National Hardware Show with us in March. And if you've got a product and you would like to show off, join us at the National Hardware Show in Las Vegas the end of March 2024. It is amazing how fast the year is zipping by.
Home Talk USA with Michael King is produced by Home Talk Media in association with King's Broadcasting Network and Genesis Communications Network. Broadcast and streamed live from the great state of Louisiana. Host and producer, the Cajun contractor, Michael King. Executive producer, Michael Mellinson. Affiliate and sponsor relations, Joe Spera. Comptroller, Sheila Gregoire. And I'm your announcer, Kevin McCarthy. Music includes King's Creole by Prolific Arts, Cajun Jam by StockMusic.com, and Zydeco City by Steve Rice. Home Talk USA with Michael King is sponsored by Bonide, pest solutions for your home, garden, and lawn. Decorators, take outdoor living beyond ordinary. Aztec Washer, innovative roofing solutions. Seal it right, seal it tight. Trimislab, replace rotten or missing wood with Trimislab expansion joint repair. Masonry Cosmetics, change the color of any porous masonry with proven masonry staining. Green Products Company, #1 in wood preservatives. Preserve, protect, and clean what you value, and most of all, make it last. Bond Products, manufacturers of InstaBind, the world's first do-it-yourself carpet binding solution. Deckrite, life is tough. Make your exterior flooring tougher. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Home Talk USA with Michael King. Until next time, visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. Yay!
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.